Hello guys, I'm Kiri, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about the first generation Lotus Elite. This car was presented for the first time at 1957 London Earls Court Motor Show. Lotus was already a well-known name, but this was the first coupe road-going car presented by the company. They spent a year developing this car, and the result was just amazing. The public at the Earls Court Motor Show was very excited from the very new Lotus model. The same year, 1957, the production began. But before that, the car was tested long time by the racing drivers, so finally they signed out the car and the car was ready for the customers. The production ended in 1963, so 6 years production run. For these 6 years, they made only over 1000 cars. By some sources 1030 cars, by other 1047 cars, but anyway, just over 1000 cars, which makes actually the car today very rare. The design is really very beautiful. Every curve is very nicely made and actually all the car looks like a drop of water, which is the perfect aerodynamic form. This Lotus is known as a Type 14 and is designed by Peter Taylor and Frank Costin. The brother of Frank Costin is one of the founders of the very great British Cosworth company. It's a front longitudinally mounted engine, 4-speed, gearbox, manual of course, and rear wheel drive only. This is the typical classic configuration. The car is very small by size, usually for every Lotus except the 1986 Lotus Opel Omega, or well known as well as Lotus Vauxhall Carroton, but this is a different story. The wheelbase is just 2 meter 242 millimeters. The car is long 3 meter 759 millimeters and is wide just 1 meter 506 millimeters. So it's just 1.5 meter wide. The car is high 1 meter 181 millimeters. But now the most important number. Believe it or not, the car weighed just 504 kilograms. And this was the key factor for the Lotus Elite, the weight. As every Lotus, the weight is the most important factor of the car, because the engine of the car was not enough powerful, just 75 horsepower in the beginning. On that time, Lotus, they didn't have their own engine and they borrowed from Coventry Climax. But this engine was developed to be a water pump engine, so was not something special. Anyway, was all aluminum, 4-cylinder inline, 1.2 liters, 1216 cc, but later Lotus updated little bit the power to 85 horsepower, so from 75 to 85. But let's say again, thanks to the low curb weight, just 500 kilograms, and the perfect aerodynamic, which with the drag coefficient just 0.29. Imagine this is 1957 with drag coefficient just 0.29. This was very advanced. The fuel consumption was very good as well, 35 miles per gallon or approximately 8.1 liter per 100 kilometers. But again, thanks to the low weight and the perfect drag coefficient, the performance as well of the car was just amazing. Maximum speed 180 km per hour or 112 miles per hour. Acceleration from 0 to 96 km per hour or 60 miles per hour, 11.4 seconds. I'm gonna say again, for 1957 these numbers were just amazing. On the track the car was even better, because not only the low weight and the perfect aerodynamic, but the suspension as well. The car had independent suspension all around with wishbone front and struts on back. So this is 1957, all independent suspension. I think the Ferrari made the first independent suspension 1961 with the model 250 TRI, 250 Testarossa I from Independence. If I'm right, this was 1961. So here we have a more advanced car, 1957 Lotus Elite with all independent suspension. I'm gonna say again, wishbones on the front and struts on the back. Even you can see the struts here. If you see through the window, you can see the struts inside the car, where the struts actually are bolted directly to the fiberglass body, because this car doesn't have any specific chassis, so is just very ahead of its time. But the noise from them, from the uh, struts on the back, you can see here properly through the window, inside the struts where they are bolted directly to the fiberglass body. The noise from them was very big, but the purpose of the car was completely different. The people buying this car were not expecting comfort, but racing style. The tires originally fitted on the car were the best on that time Pirelli Cinturato 155H R15 all corners. You can see here the interior, leather interior, very nicely made with these sporty seats and wood steering wheel. Absolutely beautiful. In 1960 was introduced the high performance model Lotus Elite SE. SE is coming from special equipment with twin carburetors, different manifolds, but the best thing was the new gearbox. Zandrak fabric, ZF. This is 4-speed again, manual, but better than the early one, MG gearbox. Now let's talk a bit about the motorsport history of Lotus Elite. Yes, the Lotus Elite has sports history as well, because the idea of every Lotus is the sport heritage. So maybe not many of you knows, but Lotus Elite Type 14 won 24 hours of Le Mans 6 times, of course in its class. Very successful car. Won as well at Nürburgring. Actually, the car Lotus Elite won many different races. Also in 1960 won the Australian GT Championship. So the racing pedigree of this car is really very special. You can see here the Pirelli Cinturato 155 HR 15-inch on these wire wheels. So all the Lotus Elite are with wire wheels and the same size Pirelli Cinturato tires. And the fact to win 24 hours at Le Mans 6 times is something absolutely top. And we're talking about the same model, not only the same brand. That's why if you check the history of many of the Elite's first owners, you will see they're special people. It was the world's most advanced GT car. The construction of the car was very innovative, monocoque glass fiber body, which means there is no specific chassis. The rear suspension, how we said before, is bolted directly into the fiberglass body, but for the front suspension and the engine, there were integrated metal frame to be more rigid. That means a convertible version was impossible, because the structure will be not enough strong. Because it was very innovative back on the time, Lotus was losing money from every car they sold. So even the car was not cheap. Something similar to the story of Bugatti Veyron. Was really very exotic car, and literally this was Formula 1 technology car for the road with 4-disc brakes. Very ahead of its time. So it's great, absolutely great little car with this small engine. How I'm gonna say again, the engine is not developed by Lotus, so it's 1.2 liter engine producing for the early versions just 75 horsepower, for the late versions 85, and maybe for some versions a little bit more than 85, maybe 90. But it's very special car. You can see here even the window, the door window is not opening type up down, but you can open the window through this handle, and all the window actually is coming out and you can put behind the seat. So this was as well the option of the car. So you cannot have the car with the normal type opening windows up and down. You can see here the handle. You can turn the handle down and all the window, side window, door window is coming out, and you can put the window behind the seat. So it was really great little car. And Type 14 Lotus, just over 1000 were made, and today the car is really very special and very rare. And the idea of every Lotus is to be light. So here the very early Lotuses, just 500 kilograms uh, and producing 90 horsepower or 85 was great fun with this car. So that this was the key factor for the Lotus Elite, the weight. The engine no need to be big, 4-cylinder is absolutely enough, 4-cylinder in line. Even here the early one we have 1.2 liters, but this was more than enough. The other thing is, I'm gonna say again about the aerodynamic, the drag coefficient is 0.29, and this is 1957. Even on that time they didn't have any special place where to check the drag coefficient. So the design these two guys they made about for this car was just great. 0.29, I'm gonna say again, drag coefficient. So that's why the performance of the car was just amazing. 180 kilometers per hour, 11.4 seconds from 0 to 60 miles per hour, or 96 kilometers per hour. Was very ahead of its time. Just over 1000 of this Lotus Elite Type 14 with Coventry Climax 1.2 engine. So guys, I hope you like the video about this Lotus Elite. If you like, please subscribe my channel, and see you next time guys. Bye.